Welcome everyone to the 24th Annual Atlantic Fringe Festival Talk Show! The audience at home can detect your sarcasm, so I appreciate your enthusiasm, but like next time, slightly less rehearsed sounding would be great. So welcome, it's the 24th Annual Atlantic Fringe Festival Talk Show. We've been doing this as part of the Fringe for the last few years as a chance to give some extra promotion to the festival and the show, so I hope you enjoy yourselves. It's going to go up on YouTube later so that the audience at home can learn a little bit about the festival as well. My name is Kevin Kindred. I am the host of the show, but I'm also the chair of the Fringe Festival. So you may have seen me promoting the festival, or you may have seen me at some of your shows. If you haven't seen me at your shows, then I apologize, but I'm going to try my damnedest to get to as many of them as I can. So yeah, I'm not really known as like, I do a lot of theater stuff, and a lot of theater people recognize me, but I do some other stuff in the city. This is going to sound like such a stupid humble brag, and I'm sorry, but it's my only way into talking about something that's kind of funny, so bear with me. But I'm a little bit more known for, I do some work with gay rights, and I kind of speak for some causes and stuff, so I'm known as a public gay person, probably than a theater person. I was reminded of that, because just as I was coming to the show tonight, I was walking down Gottingen Street, and there were some drag queens who were getting ready to go to the gay bar that's across the street. And the person I was walking with was like, oh, there's drag queens. And then a car full of drag queens ran by and called at them, and they were like, Kevin, hey, how you doing? So I'm the kind of famous where you get catcalled by the car full of drag queens. It's a very niche sort of fame, but I enjoy it. Okay, I'm also a lawyer by practice. It's my real job in addition to doing Fringe Festival. That was an odd reaction. I got more mumbling than I'm used to. So I was just like looking for things to talk about today, and there was a story in the news that I thought was interesting from a lawyer perspective. Come on in, have a seat. I'm just going to announce to the audience at home that there are latecomers and that you should feel ashamed. If you can't, just walk right by the camera. Well, as I was saying,
lawyer.
Yeah, I was saying I was reading something in the news today where there was someone arrested in Quebec who was a psychic fraud.
Yeah. He's being charged with sorcery.
Yeah. I didn't know whether that was like a psychics or I don't know. But and he's being charged with one of my favorite sections of the criminal code. So I am, in addition to being a lawyer and all those other things I said, I'm also a nerd. So I actually like of the criminal code. Not a sorcerer, no. That would have been a dramatic turn of events in this story. So he was charged under section 365 of the criminal code, which this is going to sound like it's a little lecture, it's not, but it's one of my favorite sections of the criminal code because it's the offense of pretending to practice witchcraft. And it is an offense in Canada to pretend to exercise or use witchcraft, and to pretend, and this is the actual phrase, anyone who pretends from his skill in or knowledge of an occult or crafty science to tell fortunes or predict the future. And first of all, I just love the phrase crafty science. But what I particularly love about this section of the criminal code is that it's only an offense to pretend to practice witchcraft.
If you're going to do it,
right? Exactly.
If you're bona fide,
so
carry on.
If you that's the part where I'm telling the jokes. So. But the punchline would be that so like there's a defense of actually being a practitioner of witchcraft. So there's some detective out there who's like, you seem to be pretending to be a witch, but I would like to interrogate that further. Can you turn something into a newt for me? But there are other weird little sections of the criminal code that I like to talk about sometimes. I can go on and on about the criminal code because we have a really bizarre, antiquated criminal code in Canada. That's one of the things you should know if you live in this country. We have really weird, old, bizarre sections in our criminal code. So I wrote down some of my favorites. We have, you know what, well this is not a particularly weird section, but we have a criminal code offense against bestiality, which I think that's, like, no one's too distressed by that. But there was, I see a hand raising in the back. This is not a question and answer session, so I'm not here to provide legal advice. I'm not sure if I made that clear on the way in. But it gives me a chance to talk about my favorite, one of my favorite cases that you study in law school in criminal law, which comes out of beautiful London, Ontario. And some of our guests are from London, so I thought this would be a nice time to mention. The only case about bestiality that you study in law school is a case about a guy who is found in a suburban neighborhood at 3 a.m. in London, Ontario, attempting to copulate with a German Shepherd.
He hit on me, though.
So, first of all, it was not actual bestiality. He wasn't charged with bestiality. He was charged with attempted bestiality. Because I understand you get nervous, right? But it happens to the best of us. But the reason why he studied this case in law school is it's actually, his defense was that he was drunk. But to have an actual defense of being drunk, you're going to learn a little bit about criminal law in the course of this comedy, so I hope you're taking notes. To successfully defend against a criminal charge for being drunk, you actually have to be so drunk, not just like you made bad choices because you were drunk, but you have to be so drunk as to not understand that what you were doing constituted a criminal offense. So, like in this case, he had to be so drunk, his actual defense was, I was so drunk that I realized that what I was doing, I did not realize that what I was doing was bestiality. Right? So that's a very specific, like I have been drunk, right? I have been like, make out with someone else's boyfriend drunk. I have been make bad decisions that you don't want to talk to your parents about drunk. I have never been like not aware of the species with which I was drunk. So what I learned is just that there are kinds of drunk that I have not been, which is a good lesson for us all. My other favorite, my actual real favorite section of the criminal code is section 263, which is, I just love it because it's very Canadian. It is the duty to safeguard a hole cut in ice.
What?
Any person, so it is a criminal offense, any person who creates a hole in ice in Canada is under a legal duty to A, guard it, and B, to warn others that it exists. And what I like is that that's section 263 of the criminal code. So we got through, you imagine the guys who are sitting down and writing the criminal code and they're like, well, we got rape, we got murder, we got a bunch of stuff about prostitution and polygamy. What else is around? What other big problems do we have in Canada? Do you remember when people keep falling into ice? Can we tackle that serious social issue? So I like it because it's a section of the criminal code that you will only find in Canada. I assume that the Americans do not have offenses for failing to guard a hole in the ice, although probably protecting it with a gun is. Okay, that's the end of the funny bit. So. You can all relax now and go back to recognizing that I'm not funny. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to call up some of our guests. And the first show on my list is Obscurus Occursus, who are joining us from London, Ontario, as aforementioned. All right, everybody settle. So first, why don't you just introduce who you are and what your involvement is with the show?
Well, I'm Steve Stockwell, this is Kelly McDonald, and that's Tim Ingram. We are Obscurus Occursus. We are Out of Sight Productions from London, Ontario, which we're going to talk more about later. Kelly.
Not scripted, don't worry.
Kelly's the company director, and Tim and I are the actors in said show.
Okay, so we're going to see the two of you on stage,
Yeah.
and Kelly, you're involved as in the production of the
Producing program.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about it. Out of Sight Productions has a really interesting mandate, and it's unlike any theater company I've heard of before. So I'd love to hear just explain what the company's about.
Out of Sight, I founded it in 2006 with a mandate to get low vision and blind persons in the London region involved in all theater craft, all forms of it, any part of theater. Wanted to open the door and give people an opportunity to be part of a community theater troupe that was viable, that was out there competing with their fellow troupes, and trying to really give some people a world of fun. And it's been that so far.
Is there a precedent for this within Canada or within North America, or are you breaking new ground, or is there a model that you've
There are
looked
other
at?
troupes that have been around the world, Europe. There's quite a few in Europe that have been practicing theater of the blind. Canada had a troupe for over 65 years that practiced out of Toronto, and I tried to pick up lots of tips and learn lots. I've been involved with them as well, and London being my home community, I just wanted to get involved there, and it was great.